culture which suggests that they should pay a sin sod, but at the same time there has to be a sort of a compromise. The man wants to feel that he is embracing the culture, but he doesn't want to feel he's buying, in inverted commas, a bride by paying an extortionate sin sod. So as a rule of thumb, my clients will normally pay 60 or 70,000 Thailand baht as a sin sod. Now that sort of figure is lowish in the minds of the Thai lady, but nevertheless will be usually acceptable. And at the same time, it's as high as we feel a man should be having to shell out for, because he's got all the additional expense of 2 trips out here to do this, our service fee, everything. That's a fair figure.
How much does your service cost? And can you give me a breakdown of all the other possible expenditure in the entire process?
Our service fees are globally the same for every country except the United States. So I'll talk about the United States afterwards. But for all clients except US clients, our service fee in UK pounds is 1,650 UK pounds, which equates to about $3,300 US. Now, for that service, we do absolutely everything. It's a 12-month contract with 12-month service with a contract, and basically it's unlimited introductions during that period. But the real bottom line is this: any gentleman who uses our service will find himself making 2 trips to Thailand. He'll make 2 trips probably of, the first trip can be as short as a week, although I'd recommend you go for 10 days or 2 weeks if you can. But the second trip must be for 2 weeks. So he's got to budget for 2 2-week trips, or at least 1 2-week trip and one maybe a little shorter. He's got to budget for 2 flights. He's got to budget for his spending money. He's got to budget for the embassy fees, a small, modest engagement ring. We recommend that the guy buys a modest engagement ring and doesn't spend more than, say, $600 US on it, something like that. And he's got to budget for 2 trips based on economy flights, 3-star hotels, 2 economy flights, 2 trips, his spending money, a sin sod of, say, 60 to 70,000 baht, his lady's flight over here, everything in the pot. When he adds it all up, in UK pounds, he's probably spending about 5,500 to 6,000 UK pounds, say $10,000, $12,000. Now I'm going to go into US clients. US clients will find themselves in sum total spending the same amount. They'll find themselves spending about 11,000, 12,000 US dollars, maybe a fraction less, based again on 2 tips based on the economy flights. But our service fee for US clients is $1,000 less, because although we do all the visa work in Bangkok for the US client, we do recommend that he, in his home state in the United States, does employ the services of a US-based attorney who can guide him through all the necessary steps that are required prior to making the second trip, when we will then find ourselves lodging the application. Now, I do have US clients, and I had a guy out here the other day who decided to do the visa work himself, and he said, I did it all for $170. Now, the reason he did that, I think, is because he went to one US attorney in California, and they quoted him some extortionate figure of $6,000 or $7,000 to do the K1 fiancé application work in the States. That's not a realistic figure. Realistically, most guys will find themselves paying about $1,500 or $2,000 US for a K1 fiancé visa specialist in the States. So, irrespective of that, when you put it all in the pot, whether or not the guy is from America or whether he's from any other continent of the world, the total expenditure is going to be 11,000, 12,000 US dollars. But our service fee, basically to conclude, for non-US clients is 1,650 UK pounds. 1,250 of that is payable upon signing up in the UK via me, if I'm based in the UK at the time, and the balance of 400 is paid upon arrival in our office in Bangkok. US clients pay a total to us of 2,100 US dollars. They pay 1,400 US prior to arriving in Bangkok, and they pay the other 700 upon arrival at our office in Bangkok. The service is for 12 months. If a guy comes out and finds at the end of the trip that he hasn't been successful and he thinks maybe I've got to come out again, he has no further money to pay to it. The service is for 12 months at the end of the day, but it's highly unlikely that scenario is going to occur. As long as the man meets the lady during the 12 months of our contract. The service contract commences on the day that he arrives in Bangkok. As long as he meets the lady during those 12 months, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if we find the visa application is being lodged three months after his 12 months of service has concluded. As long as we're doing the visa for that lady that he met during our 12 months of service, we will honour that and see him through.
What is your success rate?
I would say our success rate is probably about 97-98%. It could never be more than that. And there are reasons for it. There are ways that gentlemen can fail at this. And the one way a man can fail at this is to come out here and not have the focused mindset of what he's out here to do. I get different kinds of gentlemen. I get, as I say, 97-98% of my clients come out here, they're focused, they know what they're coming out to do, they're not interested in going to the girly bars and the hotels and the massage parlours, they're out here to do the business. Now I get clients occasionally who may have been to Thailand a few times before and may in the past been into the party scene of having casual relationship with girls that they've met in hotels or bars that have led to nothing, and that's why in fact they come to us then in the first place to meet the right kind of lady. But occasionally some guys come out still with, when they get out here, if they don't meet the girl they like on the first day, they sort of start going off to the bars again, and then they'll get into the wrong mindset and then will not be successful. And they'll find then that perhaps if we hear anything that the guy's been going off to the bars and things, and the girls ask us, you know, what do you think of this man? We'll say, well, we've got to be honest. We're honest to the girls and we're honest to the men. And we'll say, well, unfortunately, we're not terribly excited about this man at the moment because he's been seeing girls for a couple of days, then he's been off to Nana Plaza or Patpong or Soi Kaiboy, and he's been out, you know, fraternising those establishments, and you know, he's shot himself in the foot. So to answer your question, 97-98% of the guys that are successful. The guys who are not successful are the guys who either take their eye off the ball and go off with bar girls, or sometimes a guy who's never been to Thailand and he's like a kid in the sandwich shop. He ends up doing the same thing perhaps. He comes out and he's very serious about finding a wife, but once he sort of starts seeing all these girls walking around everywhere, and he's never been to Thailand before, he doesn't know the scene, he doesn't know the futility of meeting girls casually out here, he may then be diverted and wander off with another girl that's nothing to do with us. I mean, we've had guys come out here. I used to be a school teacher, and with a school teacher doesn't remember all his students. He will normally, like a doctor, may remember his eccentric clients, his eccentric patients. I remember my eccentric clients, the ones who have behaved inappropriately. We've had guys, I had one guy, he came out here and he went off with a lady boy to Phuket and we never saw him again. We had another man, he came out here and he, I think he had too much to drink on the plane and he started taking some sort of drugs when he was out here, and he drank a bottle of detergent and we never saw him again. These are exceptional situations. What I'm saying is 97-98% of the guys, they come out here. If the man comes out with focused intent, he's out here to do the business, he will succeed.
How can you guarantee that every Thai lady on your books who meets and marries through your service is successful in passing her visa?
Well, first of all, success in the visa very much hinges on the man's perceived ability to be able to show on paper that he can support his wife if she's not able to immediately work when she comes to her new country. Therefore, the first thing we do is ensure that the man's income level is sufficient. If his income is below a certain level, then that's going to be detrimental to a successful result, and we won't take the man on. We have a 100% success rate simply because we're very fastidious about who the clients we take on are. And therefore, when we get to the stage of a guy using our service, he's jumped through that very important hurdle, jumped over that very important hurdle of the financial requirements that will be able to show on paper. And the hurdle of the lady passing the visa is easily achievable by proper schooling, which we do of the ladies prior to them going into the interview. So to answer your question, we have a 100% visa success rate because we cover every base, basically, so that the lady, when she goes in, she performs well, she knows what she's going to expect in the interview, and we know that having put that application in, that we put it in the knowledge that the man will be able to demonstrate that level of income that is required for the visa on paper.
Do you provide a visa service only for gentlemen who already have a Thai girlfriend or wife?
Yes, we do provide that service, but again, it is to selected clients. They again have to obviously fulfill the financial requirements, but we also have to look at the whole proceedings regarding the lady, the situation, how they met, etc., etc. So subject to certain conditions, yes, we can still assist with external visas. But when we do an external visa, both the gentleman and the lady have individual contracts, which basically says, in a nutshell, that they're going to be all singing from the same song sheet. When we do a visa for a lady who has come to us of her own volition, it's not a problem to ask a lady to do this and to follow my instructions and to do that. But if a lady comes along who's met her guy through whatever means he's met her, whether it's been a friend or whatever it's been, at the end of the day, if she comes along and we start saying to her, well, we want you to do this and we want you to do that, she might think, well, who are they telling me what to do? So therefore what we do is actually cover that to start with, to make sure that at the end of the day, we're all singing from the same song sheet. The man has signed a contract to say he will follow our instructions, and the lady also has signed a contract, translated into Thai, saying that she will follow our instructions as well.
Where do your Western clients come from?
We have Western clients from every continent of the world. I've had them from the Outer Hebrides, the Antilles, I've had them from the Falkland Islands, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, almost every continent, South Africa, all over the United States. I've had them from Guam. I've had one man who was an oceanographer who lived on a boat, so it's difficult to say where he actually came from. We have clients from every continent of the world. It really doesn't matter where they come from. We can still deliver the goods. If the guy is looking for a genuine partner, it's not an impediment. The country he comes from, it is not an impediment.
What is the average age of the ladies who are on the Thai professionals book?
We've got ladies on our books from the age of 20 up to about 55, but I would say that the average age of the ladies is probably late 20s, 27, 28. Now, I would say there's probably a sort of a reason for that, because in the Thai mentality of the dating system over here is such that if a lady, when she gets into her late 20s, she's effectively over the hill, in inverted commas, on the dating scene over in Thailand. And you can find that not only in the dating scene, but in general employment. You only have to walk into a department store or a restaurant, and you see the average age of the employees is usually in their mid-20s. It's for the same ageist reasons, I'm afraid.
What sort of age differential is mutually acceptable to both parties using your service?
Thai lady is quite happy to have a husband who is a fair few years older than herself. I am 16 years older than my wife. It's not a problem in her mind, it's not a problem in my mind. Generally speaking, the ladies will prefer a gentleman to be a few years older, not astronomically so, but a fair age difference of 15 or even 20 years is by no means a problem in many of the Thai ladies' minds, because they believe an older man is going to be more responsible, more reliable, and not be, in inverted commas, what they describe as a butterfly flitting from one woman to another. So, I mean, I've had clients who have married ladies who are maybe only 2 years younger than themselves. I've also had elderly clients, maybe of 70, who've ended up with a lady of 45, 48 or 50. But I will not take a client on if he comes along to me and he's 70 and he says, I'm looking to make Lisa maybe of 23. I mean, that's the kind of things that the newspapers like to latch onto, and it's unethical and unprofessional to take on such a client. If I get a client like that, I'll just tell him to go to somebody else. So to answer your question, 15, 20 years is not a problem. If the age difference can perhaps be larger than that, if the man is, a little bit older. But I don't advocate at marriages where the age differential is too large, because it will lead to potential problems later.
What is the situation regarding ladies' availability to go out on dates with men if they have a full-time job?
Well, first of all, what clients have to understand is on the first day that they meet the ladies, these ladies will have taken time off work to meet them, and it's dependent after that, the ladies that they date, it's dependent on the availability of them being allowed to get time off work. Now, sometimes the lady can be lucky, she can